Hi, everyone. This is Rico Figliolini, host of UrbanEbb. Appreciate you guys being with us. We're here at the Corner Gathering. In fact, this is the Corner Cave.
Yep.
With the lead pastor, Chuck Allen. Hey, Chuck.
Hi, Rico. Thanks for letting me be with you today.
Yeah, no, this is great. Actually, he's way more experienced than I am. He does 6 podcasts a week.
Right.
It's just like, that beats me. I'm lucky if I do 3 in a month. But we are here to talk a bit about Sugar Hill Church, the Corner Gathering, which is here in Peachtree Corners. You're the lead pastor on both of those.
I am.
And these are, I say church, one of them is Sugar Hill Church, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But, from what I've learned from Chuck, from what I've learned from you, is that this is really a community center here at the Corner Gathering.
Yeah, this is a community center that happens to do church instead of the other way around.
I like the way you say that.
Yeah.
That does church versus...
Typically a church says we do community work,
Right.
This one was intentionally designed on the south side of Peachtree Corners to do community service first. And the purpose for the church was to make sure people could be involved in community.
Yes.
When we want to create community for church, but we want community to serve community.
And you're serving a lot down here. In
We're
Peachtree
trying.
Corners, right?
Yeah.
You guys don't just do the Corner Gathering, Sugar Hill Church. You're doing Neighborhood Meals on Wheels.
That's right.
You're doing ClearPath, which
ClearPath
is
Counseling.
right, mental health.
So like Sugar Hill Church has 6,500 members or so. Then you have the Corner Gatherings community here. Neighborhood Meals on Wheels this year will probably serve 80,000 meals to homebound senior adults. So that's just on our side of 85.
Yeah.
And then ClearPath Counseling has about 250 therapists. Yeah.
That you hook up with different people that need.
It was designed as a nonprofit. My partner in that is one of the most brilliant people, Julie Homrich, who's a psychotherapist. And it's designed to make mental health affordable and accessible. So if people can't afford copays, then we help them. If people don't have insurance and can't afford mental health care, we provide it.
Wow. So let's get to the Corner Gathering.
Yeah.
You started this church.
Yeah.
How long ago now?
October of 25.
October of 25.
Yes, we're just a few months old.
Yeah, it's growing fairly fast.
It really is.
You just had a wedding out here.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of stuff. There's the pavilion outside. There's the meeting rooms inside.
Right.
People can do weddings. They can do events, corporate events.
We've had corporate events here.
Right.
We've had retailers who have set up to serve their clientele. We've had weddings. We actually had a Jewish gathering.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We have a doctor here 1 day a week. We have a mental health professional here 2 days a week.
Wow.
Starting in May, will be senior adult memory care here 2 days a week. Wow. But we also have things like a mahjong club and a book club and other things to meet here.
Yeah. It's just we were talking about this before the podcast. How busy you are, and a cup of coffee at 10:30 at night doesn't put him to sleep.
No, not even close.
You're just running on willpower and fumes, I think. So community center that does church. That's been that philosophy ever since I've known you for the past few months, and it's an interesting thing for me, especially because I'm Brooklyn Catholic boy that's no longer Catholic and was a Baptist at one point.
That's a lot of guilt to bring to the party.
Let me tell you, but at least I got to say there's no homilies and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry about that, but it's just not for me anymore.
Yeah.
And then people talk about. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious.
Well, it's a thing.
Attitude. Yeah.
But I understand it.
Do you?
I totally get it. The whole concept of being a community center that happens to be a church, there is a large segment of our population, and many of them are in our demographic. Not old, but older.
Right.
But they did church, and they did a lot of church. And somewhere in there, they got burnout and tired of church because religion was something that just drove the church, almost like a machine.
Yeah.
Do the rules, follow the rules, look the same way, agree the same way, agree politically, et cetera, et cetera. But that wasn't what Jesus designed the church to be. He designed the church to be a place where everybody could belong.
Yeah.
And then worried about what they believed later on. So our concept is come belong with us, be a part of community. We'll worry about what we believe later because there are so many things we can disagree on.
Yeah, I think that's part of a big problem with young people not feeling that, church is not for them. Although just recently I saw in 60 Minutes, there was this whole thing about a renaissance, almost a revival in the Catholic Church. A lot of people are coming back to that. Are you seeing younger people more over the last 5-6 years coming back?
So at Sugar Hill, again, it's a large church. And last year we added, 300 members or so. Of those, the vast majority were in their 30s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
We
unusual.
less than 7% of the membership base is 70 or older. It's a really young community, and primarily because I think people are looking for something that is so authentic, something so tangible and real, versus just the divisiveness of the rest of our world, political, educational, economic, etc.
Yeah. Do you, with that thought in mind, I mean, a lot of churches they do mission trips. They do other types of things that drive a church program, if you will.
Sure.
But doing the idea of what you do, where the money comes in for neighborhood Wheels and Meals, for example, all of that money goes
100%.
to where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And you could go to your community, your members, and say, we need 150,000.
That's right.
It's 100% going to this program.
That's right.
So do you see that as a overall, that young people like that?
I think they demand it. They may not, verbally demand it,
Right.
but they demand it with what they give too. For decades, I was a part of churches that asked for money, begged for money, pleaded with money.
Sure.
I can't tell you how many people left some church because they said all they care about is my money. And in some ways, they were right in feeling that way. In our case, what we've learned to do is to literally say, our books are wide open. You can see how much I make. You can see what we give to. And we say, when you give, we're going to tell you and show you where 100% of that money went. So every Sunday, I'm telling a story of what happened with what they gave. When we get done, like in April, we're raising $150,000 just for community. That's it, just for community. When we're done, and we have spent that money probably by the end of August, we will literally put up a spreadsheet in the church and show here's where every dime came in, here's where every dime went out. Because next time when I say we need, they will know where it went and what it was used for.
Right. I think there's a difference in some churches want to build buildings versus some churches want to do programs like this. And if you need a building, that will come naturally.
Yeah, it will. Right. We have a saying, Rico, that not everybody likes, but we love this saying. If it's God's will, it's God's bill. You don't have to sell it.
I love that. All right. So Meals on Wheels, this side of 85. Right. How did that start?
So there was a lady way back in the 80s that started Norcross Meals on Wheels.
Yes, right.
It was really small. And I think they got to where they were serving 12 or 14 meals a day. My wife was a volunteer in the early 2000s, and a friend of hers was running it and just kind of got burned up with the exhaustion of it all. Yeah. And my wife said, well, we'll do it. So when she brought it to me, I said, well, let's do it big. So
sure, if you're going to do it big.
Yeah, if you're going to do it right, Because one of the things I didn't realize is, Gwinnett County is close to having as many senior adults as they have children in public schools. 36% of those people live at or below poverty. Most of them alone, many of them with memory care. So it is food, but it's primarily the opportunity to check on somebody because it's the only human they'll touch. So when we took it, originally we had food that came from a healthcare provider, but it tasted like healthcare food. So we brought it inside, built a little kitchen, and at that time we were doing 50, 60 meals a day. Today we'll do almost 400 meals.
Wow. Same kitchen?
No, yeah, well, same kitchen now, but we're fortunate. We were able to purchase a building from the city of Sugar Hill just last month. We'll start construction next month, and it'd be 14,000 square foot building that not only has a kitchen large enough to do 300,000 meals a year, but a food pantry for the city and a senior advocacy center so that seniors can actually make a phone call and talk to a real person to figure out how do I get something done.
So some of the stuff you talked about, Chuck, is partnerships.
That's right. Most
companies
of it.
and
that's right.
And governments and,
that's right.
and stuff. So that helps you provide what you need to do, right?
Well, it does three things. One, it helps provide volunteers.
Right.
Because no church has enough volunteers. We're fortunate that between municipalities, other faith organizations, and a lot of Gwinnett corporations, they jump in. Like the Gwinnett Chamber and the Southwest Gwinnett Chamber have been awesome with us. And so we see partnership as an essential part for a lot of reasons. So they provide volunteers.
Yeah.
They do provide financing. More importantly,
Yeah.
they understand and share the mission. Because right now, there's never been a time that was better, that doing good is good for business. And we
Yes.
want to do good with anybody that wants to do good with us.
Right. So what challenges do you find, or did you find as you were growing it? Were there any unexpected challenges?
Oh, gosh, yeah. The greatest challenge we have when it comes to Meals on Wheels is food cost,
Yeah.
because it's so fluctuating.
Yeah.
You know, it's like oil. Food cost is ridiculous. But we have partners, people like Whole Foods, Aldi, Kroger, Publix. I mean, even local places like Henri's Bakery here. I mean,
Really?
so many people will call and help us.
So donating foods or?
Typically, we don't take anything that's close or out of date, but we will customize a meal to take what we've been donated or have the opportunity to buy at much lesser degree.
Yeah.
You know who's one of our best providers is the Gwinnett County Public School Foundation.
Really?
Well, it's fascinating. Like this afternoon, we're picking up cases of extra food that they've gotten that they can't deliver to schools. They're just, it's amazing. By the way, like the Mitsubishi Classic Golf Classic,
Yeah.
Gas South, who sponsors all that,
Right.
all their food that we left over Sunday from their VIP tents, we'll pick up Monday morning in a refrigerated truck, bring it back to freezers or coolers, and begin serving it on Monday.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that-
I think that's what happens when you get involved in local chambers.
Yeah.
You get involved with local rotaries.
Right.
When you get in the room and people hear what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
and there's no real agenda other than let's try to do good together.
Yeah. I remember there was, I forget which bread company, I think it was a franchise, actually a bread store,
Yeah.
essentially. And they would give away their food at the end of the evening. So
Right.
at 10 o'clock at night, some church would show up, pick
That's
up
right.
all the bread that was there. 'Cause
Yeah.
it would be a waste otherwise. To be able
Aldi
to-
does that with us, with
Really?
all kind of product.
Oh,
They're
okay.
amazing.
Wow. Okay. And they're an international company and still able
Yeah.
to reach the community. Do you think that what you're doing with Meals on Wheels should grow beyond where you're doing it?
It will have to.
Okay.
The great need in Gwinnett County. First of all, let me stop and say, Gwinnett County, the county senior services,
Yeah.
they're great, and they are some of our best partners. We are huge fans of Gwinnett County Senior Services.
Okay.
They're also a provider of clients to us.
Hmm.
So they have a big, beautiful kitchen. They have wonderful people,
Yeah.
but they are funded almost solely from Atlanta Regional Commission. So let's just say your mom needed meals,
Yeah.
and you contact Gwinnett Seniors. One, they want to help. They have great systems to help. They're incredible people, but it could be a few months before she could get served because of the process to get funded.
Oh, wow.
So they
Okay.
they have a program called Unite Us.
Uh-huh.
They provide a client that has need, and because of the flexibility and fluidity of how we can function, we can typically start serving her tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot different. So it's almost like they have to do it on a per case basis, it sounds like.
Well,
almost.
first of all, they want to do it tomorrow.
No, I know. They
You
do.
know, but the challenge for them is like anything governmental,
Yeah.
you have structures and processes and bureaucracy, and they have to fill all the forms out. In our case, we're able to talk to mom on the phone or talk to you as her representative, find out all the pertinent information, literally put it in our system, and she'll get a meal tomorrow.
So if you had a wish list, a grand wish list, what would that be to expand what you're doing already?
I need another van so I can start getting food on the other side of 85, because we put heaters and coolers in the vans and transport from Sugar Hill to Duluth, Sugar Hill to Norcross, Sugar Hill almost to Lilburn.
Wow.
So we have an incredible need on the Lawrenceville side of 85. It's way too expensive to build another kitchen, so it's easier to transport. So right now we need another van.
Okay. ClearPath, that's something else that you're doing.
Yeah.
Partnered with 250 plus therapists.
That's right.
I think mental health is, especially since COVID has been growing, that need has been growing a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think more people are willing to even say that they need help.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're finding now?
Well, three things happened because of
Yeah.
COVID. One, people began to openly acknowledge this is an issue. And the second thing that I think is really wonderful is that faith organizations began to recognize the issue. Faith has always kind of run and butted heads with psychotherapy. My personal opinion and experience with ClearPath is that faith and science, faith and psychology are hand in glove. They're not opposed. And so my partner, Julie Homrich, who again, just one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, I was reading the AJC during COVID on my iPad one morning, and I read that Georgia's last in the provision of mental and emotional health care. I thought, oh my gosh, we're behind Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. That can't be good, you know? So I did what most churches would do, think, okay, we need to hire a counselor. I had one guy on my staff who was kind enough to say, please don't do that. You're just going to burn somebody else out. So he introduced me to Julie.
Okay.
Julie and I got together, and we thought, what we need is to make it affordable and accessible. That simple. Most people don't know where to start. They don't know who to trust. So Julie, the brains behind it all, she put all this together where you can go to clearpathcounseling.org, fill out an assessment in about 5 minutes. You'll automatically get an email back that says pick a time to do a free 30-minute assessment with a psychotherapist. You can convey everything going on in your life, and we'll almost guarantee you that we'll put you in a psychotherapist, a licensed therapist, not a counselor, a licensed therapist's office within two weeks. And all these therapists have agreed to lower rates. We've raised a lot of money to help sponsor and help people who can't afford anything.
Right.
And we've cared for about 3,000 clients so far.
Wow. When did that start, ClearPath?
Almost 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
The therapists that are working for you, are they consistently the perspective that they have? Well, let me take a step back. There are people that I've known that have gone to faith-based counseling or therapy, and it's always about the religion.
Yeah.
It's always about, well, this is the reason why.
We chose to run from that.
Okay.
But, it was highly intentional.
Okay.
I didn't know this, Rico, but I learned this from Julie. A lot of people, and when I say a lot, I would say probably 20% or more of our clients, they arrive and part of their presenting problem is spiritual trauma. Now, if you just think about that, people who meant well, but trying to care for someone that was above their pay grade. So what we did is, in meaning well, we gave them a Bible verse, we told them to trust more, we told them to pray more. Right. Nothing wrong with any of those. But it was received with a little more guilt, with a little more shame that I'm not good enough. So there's nothing wrong with biblical counseling, but you do need to know what your capacity is. So what we learned was the best way we can serve people is to get them healthy, qualified therapy, then have the opportunity to talk with them about whatever their faith journey may or may not be, because we don't put any restrictions on people looking for therapy. We have people that will say, I want a faith-based therapist. We have those. Okay. The vast majority just want help.
Yeah. They don't want to, and I get what you're saying, because
you can't provide somebody real help if you've brought some religious bias to the party.
Yes, because I agree with that. I mean, just there are people that will feel that guilt, and there are people that will, out of their goodness of their heart, and I realize that they're making people feel guilty just because of religion.
And I look back at my own journey and realize people come to me for help, and it's pretty easy to figure out, you're above my pay grade. How great is it to know I've got a resource to send them to? Yeah.
And the fact that your staffer didn't want you to burn out someone, makes sense. I think what happens sometimes is when you try to give things for free over a long period of time, it becomes a very difficult proposition.
Easy to crash and burn.
Yes. So having someone like a therapist that's getting discounted and still providing the right top level, that makes sense to me. Anything there that you found as challenging as you were going along that path to doing this?
So
the implementation.
It may seem odd, but there are two things that are continually challenging in that work. One of them is, while it is normalized in conversation, the vast majority of people, especially males, struggle with believing that I'm that person that actually needs help. It's really interesting. So to try to make it normalized to the degree that you don't just reach out for help at a lowest moment, but you have to step into there. So there are a lot of people that will do a free 30-minute assessment, and then they just stop and we don't hear from them for 90 days. So, trying to shorten that is a challenge. The second challenge is it's easy to raise money for food, Rico. There's a lot of money out there for food. People, you see hungry people, you want to feed them, hungry kids, you want to feed them. When you start talking to people about, okay, but I have a 16-year-old who's contemplating suicide, and this 16-year-old has a single parent, and that single parent's working 3 jobs, and this child's doing all she can do. You stop and think, and by the way, that's a real instance right now. You stop and think, it's a little harder to raise money for that. Because we all have this bias about mental health. And so it's a little harder ask.
Well, you would think it would be a little easier based on things going on in the world, the incident violence and the incidents of bullying and all that.
Well, every study on the planet would show, especially in adolescents, we have a lot of adolescents that are sent to us by Gwinnett County Public School counselors, which they're probably our best partner. Schools, everything, are probably our best partners in the world are Gwinnett County Public Schools. Wow. We're on 16 public schools virtually every school day. 11 of them are Title I schools. And when
so you actually have someone there? You mean?
Well, not all day, but they're stopping by every day. Yeah, and I just think church and public school, they ought to, in some ways we're in the same business. How do we leave this place better, and how does the next generation, how do we leave this so much better for them? Because our generation, we left a mess.
Yeah, but I can see that.
So why not help them instead of trying to figure out what's wrong with them? And so that's been our take, and it's been wonderful. But back to the adolescents and therapy, if you just think about what's happening in a typical news day, you would think the sky is falling every day. But at the same time, there are a million good things that happen. Just nobody has an outlet to share them. But this generation is desperate for it. And I'm convinced that today's high school generation will become the next great generation.
Let's hope they won't be the greatest generation? World War II?
Hopefully we'll avoid that.
Yes, hopefully. God willing. The local impact you're doing, how do you keep going? You have challenges, personal challenges.
Yeah,
how do
absolutely.
you not get burnt out? You work until late at night, 7 days a week maybe,
Always.
to some degree. You're available all the time.
Pretty much.
It seems like. And a preacher, in a way, a pastor needs to be available, right?
Yeah. Well, and we think that's important. In a day where kind of mega churches are the thing, I think it's important that church remember we ought to know who's going to marry us, who's going to bury us, and who do we call when there's a problem. And so relationship should matter. It really should matter. We need to know people. And I wouldn't say that I figured it out. If anything, Rico, I'm as screwed up as anybody I know.
I don't see it, by the way.
Well, I promise you it's there. I admit to my church all the time, listen, just don't follow my pattern. I might be the biggest hypocrite in the church, and it's possible that my time management skills are the worst of anybody I know. However, I love what I do. I never wake up and think I can't wait to go preach, but I do wake up and start thinking to myself, how do we help Gwinnettians have affordable housing? How do I make sure Peachtree elementary kids have a permanent home? How do you make sure these people that need food, or if that Latino mom whose dad took the one truck to have to go make a living, but that kid missed the bus, how do I make sure that kid's not on a truancy list and get them to school? That's highly motivating. And when that motivates you, you will find people that are motivated by the same thing. And then it's pretty easy to inspire people that are already motivated. Let's go do good. And if you build enough systems where it's just relationally driven, God's will, God's bill, he'll bring people. And that's been our experience.
Well, what's been your story? You have a story. Everyone has a story.
Oh my gosh,
right?
Rico, my story. The short version is this. All I ever wanted to do was be a millionaire. I was a serial entrepreneur. It's all I wanted to do. Last thing I ever thought I'd be is a pastor. Last thing on my mind was that I'd ever be a pastor.
When did that come into your mind then? And have you, what religion did you start out life
So I grew
at?
up in a little Southern Baptist church.
Okay.
Like hardcore rules.
Bible thumping?
Yeah, don't drink, don't smoke, don't chew, don't go with your girls that do, all the,
right.
And I grew up and just in fairness, it's not a slam to Southern Baptists at all, but I just grew up in a church where I thought, I can't do this. The whole world's screaming at you. I don't need somebody to scream at me, man. And then I thought, some of these rules make no sense.
Like which ones in particular?
So like I just look at things like alcohol. I'm like, why are y'all so freaked out about this? I mean, just don't let it control you. I mean,
even Jesus had wines at the
and by the way,
right?
he made the $500 bottle stuff. He didn't make Boone's Farm, man. I mean, he made the good stuff.
Yeah.
But I just look at stuff like that and I think we're fighting the wrong thing. Or if you talk about like women in leadership and ministry, you're going to fight Disney or like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
You got people right here in your community you need to be loved on. They need a place to call home, and you're just fighting. And I just thought I don't want to do that.
What were you doing before religion?
I was a builder. I would, sewer line, water line, storm drain.
Oh, wow.
Building houses. Serial entrepreneur. I've owned a couple of restaurants. I've owned a few convenience stores.
Wow.
A frozen yogurt shop. I was a serial entrepreneur.
Now you're building churches.
Yeah. Actually, it was a pretty good training ground.
Was it?
Yeah. Honestly, most pastors go from high school to college, seminary to a church. I went high school, college, business, and business all through college. Because at 17, my dad said, he gave me a $20 bill on my 17th birthday. And he said, I hope you enjoy it. It's the last money I'm ever going to give you. And he was true to his word.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so college, I was on the 7-year plan. And so I just never thought this is what I do. Okay. So I wound up on staff at a church over in Snellville, kind of part-time, and being a business guy, it was like do business stuff, and the church grew. It became a mega church. I made a trip to Romania to build churches after the Ceausescu Revolution. And I came back and my life was changed. It was like, helping people, that's what motivates me. So I began the process. I went to work for a mission organization for about 7 years, but it was bureaucracy. And I thought, ugh. In the middle of that, my wife died. I had 2 little girls. And about 6 months after she passed away, I bailed out of that and went back into business. And but I was speaking at churches here and there. And I would never say I'm a really good preacher, Rico.
I've listened to.
But I can motivate,
I could see you doing that.
Yeah, my style is more like pick a verse and holler, So this church at Sugar Hill, I'd spoken for them, and their pastor left, and they said, would you come speak for us? And 7 weeks later, they asked me to be the pastor.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, no, but eventually said yes, and now I've been there almost 15 years, and at the time, it was a Southern Baptist church.
Was it?
It was, yeah. Oh, wow. And we left the convention, not because we were mad at anybody. I'm not mad at anybody. Don't even really have much theological difference. But I just think missions is not about denominations. It's about locality.
Yes.
I think presence in a community is what matters. Even Jesus said, this is how to go do it. Do it here. If you go to Africa, that's great, right? But if you're not willing to do it here, but you're going to, something's wrong.
Right. Yeah, no, I can see that. People I speak to sometimes say the same thing. Why are we not doing it here? Why are we overseas doing it? And there's a need for it.
Yeah, but it's not sexy.
No. Well, doing it here is not sexy. No, it's not.
No.
So, but the gratification is way sooner.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a need.
As long as you're doing it for something more than a photo op.
Yeah.
It's
religion
gritty
is
work.
Yeah, and religion is. And I've seen people do it for photo ops.
Oh yeah, plenty.
But religion is a thing that I think even my young kids. One of I think it was my oldest kid at the time, who's a little kid. Came home. We were going to a Baptist church at the time. He came home and he's like, "Dad, why can't we dance?" I'm like, "What do you mean? You
think
can't
how
dance?"
how crazy that is.
I just couldn't understand that. They're like, in Sunday school, they said we can't dance.
King David danced naked. Like, what the heck?
I don't understand. And trust me, they are pretty much all can debate about the Bible also.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll point out all sorts of things in the Bible, and
Yeah.
when you have young kids pointing that out and say, "Well, I don't know what to say,"
Yeah.
it is what it is. You know?
I have learned this. Anytime that you take a piece of the Bible and weaponize it,
Yes,
you're using the Bible for something it was never designed to be.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
But it's hard because we humans, while we hate rules, we want rules.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you let people control religion, they're going to create their rules.
Yes,
And then if you don't follow their rules, then you must be wrong. But certainty is a dangerous thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what if you leave room for God to do what he wants to do without you having to control it? And that's why I think we ought to be about community first. Don't control it. I mean, let God do what he wants to do rather than you trying to play God.
And on that note, this is Chuck Allen, lead pastor for the Corner Gathering in Sugar Hill Church.
Yep.
We've been spending some good time this morning here at the Corner Cave, which I wish I took some pictures, so we'll share those online.
It's a fun place.
Yes, and you just got good stuff going on here. And I appreciate the time you've given me.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed being with you.
Same here. And if you all want to find out a little bit more about the Corner Gathering, just
At cornergathering.com,
it's way easy. And if you're in the Sugar Hill area,
sugarhill.church.
there you go. And follow the pastor online, because God knows he's all over the place. And you'll see him at some point if you're at some event.
At some point.
Yes. So
Thanks, Rico.
Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.